Hi everyone, this is Mrs. J, and today we're going to learn how to solve for a variable. So here's a quick warm-up for you guys. Pause the video, give it a try, and we can check in a few moments. Alright, go ahead and check your answers here. So both of these are equations that have fractions. So remember, you can clear your fractions completely by multiplying both sides by your LCD. So for part A, our LCD is 4. So look what happens when you multiply both sides by 4. These 4's cancel out. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so 2x, and then plus 12. So then you have no more fractions, and the rest is easier to solve. For part B, the LCD is 5. So if you multiply both sides by 5, 5 divided by 5 is 1, 5 times negative 2x. And then here, 5 times 3 divided by 5 gives you 3x and then plus 5. And again, you have something that's much easier to solve from here. So today we're going to be working with what are called literal equations. So literal equations are equations that contain two or more variables. So these are really common in like a science class. Most scientific formulas are literal equations, but there's lots of different types of formulas that would fall under the literal equation category. So first we're going to learn how to rearrange a scientific formula so we can solve for a specific part. So this says a sinker on a fishing line is made of lead, which has a density of 11,340 kilograms per meters cubed and has a volume of 0.000015 meters cubed. What is the mass of the sinker? So we're going to be using this density formula. Density equals mass over volume. However, here this formula is currently solved for D, density, but we want to find the mass. So we're going to start by taking this density formula and we're going to solve for M. So here's our density formula, and if I want to solve for M, that means I want to isolate M, so I need to get rid of this V. So the inverse of dividing by V would be multiplying both sides by V. So this gives us V times D equals M. Or we could say mass equals volume times density. So now that we have a form of the equation or the formula that is more useful, we can substitute the information from the problem. So our mass is going to be the volume, which we see right here. The volume is this number. So 0.000015, and then times the density, which is this number right here, 11,340. So here, if we round to the nearest hundredths, we get approximately 0.17, and our mass will be in kilograms. The reason why the mass is in kilograms is because our volume right here, you can see, is in meters cubed, and then our density right here is in kilograms divided by meters cubed, kilograms per meters cubed. So when you multiply the two, these cancel out, and what you have left is kilograms. Alright, go ahead and pause the video and see if you can give this one a try. We're going to be using that same density formula as in example 1. Okay, so here, since they're asking us to find the volume of the plastic foam, we're going to take that formula and we're going to solve for V. So first we need to make sure that V is no longer in the denominator. So we can multiply both sides by V, giving us V times D equals M. But then from here we want to make sure we get rid of the D. So we divide both sides by D, and we get volume equals mass over density. So it says in the problem that the mass right here is 0.3 kilograms and the density is 75 kilograms per meters cubed. So our volume is 0.004 meters cubed. Okay, so now we're going to be working with a different literal equation. This is a really commonly used one. It's the interest formula. So I equals P times R times T can be used to help you calculate how much interest you would pay on a loan. So I represents the interest that you're going to pay. So interest is essentially what a bank charges you for borrowing money. So they charge you a certain percentage, and then over time, that money that you pay them is called the interest. Now the P in the formula stands for the principal, which would be the initial amount of the loan or how much money you're starting with. R is the interest rate. So any loan or maybe like a savings account that acquires interest will have an interest rate. It is important that we use the decimal form whenever we're working with the mathematical formula. And then T is time in years. So you can use this formula to actually help you find any of the following variables depending on what information you're given. So let's look at example 2 together. A $1,000 loan was given at a 5% interest rate. The total interest paid over the lifetime of the loan is $600. What is the length in years of the loan? So first, let's talk about what we have from the problem. The $1,000 loan, that would be our principal. So that's P equals $1,000. That's kind of our initial amount. We can see here that the loan was given at a 5% interest rate. So that's going to be our R value, but remember we want to write it as a decimal. So we need to move the decimal point 2 spaces to the left and it becomes 0.05. The next information we're told is that the total interest paid over the lifetime of the loan was $600. So that would be I. That's how much interest you have to pay. So to borrow $1,000, it actually costs you $600. So you still have to pay back the $1,000, but you have to pay back an additional $600 as well. And then here's what they're asking. What is the length in years of the loan? So they're asking us to solve for T. So let's start by taking our interest formula, I equals PRT, and let's solve for T. So if we want T to be isolated, we're going to need to get rid of the P and the R. Since they're all being multiplied, we'll use the inverse, which is division, and we can actually divide by P and R at the same time. So this gives us I divided by P times R equals T. So we can use this to help us solve for T. So we can say T equals, we know from the information that I is 600 divided by P, which is 1,000, times R, which is 0.05. Make sure when you are simplifying this that you're dividing by the product of these two numbers. If you type it in wrong to your calculator, it might actually be multiplying by 0.05 rather than dividing. So make sure you're grouping whatever you have in the denominator. So your answer should be T equals 12. So what is the length of the loan? 12 years. So hopefully you can see with a problem like this that it's actually pretty expensive to borrow money. A 5% interest rate doesn't seem very high, but if you think about it, just to borrow $1,000, you have to pay an extra $600, which is almost as much as the initial loan. So it's just something to think about. Okay, here is the last problem. So please pause the video and give it a try on your own. You'll be using that same interest formula that we used in example 2. Okay, so since we were being asked determine the interest rate, that means that we're going to be solving for R. So you can see here, first I rewrote the interest formula to solve for r. R equals I divided by P times T. So then we can plug in the given information. The interest is $640. The principal amount was $2,000 and the time was 4. So this should give you an R value of 0.08, which translates, if we put it as a percentage, as 8% interest rate. Okay, that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.